Alright everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be looking at Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, a game that is widely considered to be the best Tony Hawk game in the franchise. But does that statement hold true? Find out today in this review.
Viewer discretion is advised.
Releasing a year after Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 in 2000, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 released to critical acclaim. Skating off the success from the first game, takes what it did and just makes it 10 times better. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 had more skaters, more stages, more missions, better music, and more skateboards to use. It was clear that Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 had a big impact on the industry and sports games as a whole. Just like the first game, I never got a chance to play it until way later with Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2X on the Xbox, a version of the game that I will cover later in the video. I got the PlayStation version a few years after, and my initial thoughts when I played it was that it was really good and a great improvement from the original, but it wasn't the best. I wonder if that would change now. As I said before, Pro Skater 2 is a major improvement from the first game in every aspect. The controls have been made more smooth and more refined. Combo system has been expanded upon, and the level design has been improved dramatically. The controls are mostly the same from the first, except now you can do the manual. The manual allows you to connect combos when skating on street or just skating on flat ground. This feature may seem small, but this is actually a major overhaul to the gameplay. In the first game, you could only combo by grinding, which you could barely do in the first place, and it made the game more about pulling off different tricks if you wanted to score high. Now with the manual in the game, it's about pulling off high combos. Just look at this footage right here. Yeah, you can tell the manual really improved the gameplay a lot and made it more streamlined and more arcadey in that aspect than the realism that they were going for in the first game. Some people disagree with them making the game more arcadey and they want it more realistic. However, I think the game was always made to be arcadey, and it just made the controls a lot better to have it in this way. Another feature that was added was the big drop. This mechanic sucks, man. I guess in an effort to add more realism, they added a mechanic so you couldn't just jump off high places. You know how in Mario 64, if you fell off a high place, Mario would take damage? This is sort of the same thing here, except you dropped your whole combo. I thought it was stupid in that game, and it's stupid here. It doesn't seem too bad at first, but when you start going into other levels that have higher elevation, it'll get annoying to do. I heard if you hold X down while doing the big drop, you'll land it, but sometimes it doesn't work. It really depends on your big drop stat, which to be fair, if you increase it, you'll be able to fall from higher heights and not lose your combo. Despite this, I feel like the game would just be better if they remove the mechanic entirely. Despite big drop, the good of Pro Skater 2 outweighs the bad by a long shot, and that was just scratching the surface of what was offered in the gameplay. Let's look at the career mode. This time the career mode is based on how much money you make rather than collecting the tapes in each level. One of these goals involves collecting money. This goal is really good because it allows you to see different spots in the level and encourages exploration. The other goals will be specific things that are in the level, like grinding over an air ring or kickflipping over a rooftop. These things help make the levels feel more unique and all offer their own unique experience compared to what was offered in the first game. By completing these goals, you'll be able to earn money to increase stats, buy tricks, and different skate decks. And yes, now you're able to change your stats and max them out, as well as changing your character's tricks that include special tricks. You don't need the max stats to beat the game, or even to change your tricks in the first place, but it really does come in handy in the end. There's a big difference between a person that has zero investment in stats and a person who has full stats, especially by the end of the game. This in itself is a very good addition because it feels like you're actually progressing with your skater, and you're getting better by learning new tricks and learning new skills, just like it would be if you started skateboarding in real life. This can go double for when you actually create your own skater and you increase their stats and you give them skills. It's like you yourself are developing the skills to skateboard and become a pro, just like Tony Hawk himself. And yes, you can create your own character now. The options are very limited. You can only create males, but it's still a great addition to the game. It will be expanded upon in future titles. After setting stuff up, let's head into the levels. This time there are 8 levels in the career mode, and for the most part, they all have very great design. We start out in the hangar, which is just the warehouse of this game, except cooler. It has a military theme, and you can even grind a helicopter and go outside to the secret area. And it also has another secret area inside of the air duct. This is a great starting level to introduce you to the new mechanics and goals of the game, and shows just how much more grand 2 is from 1. School 2 once again takes what was in the first game and makes it bigger and better. This level is one of the best not only in this game, but in the entire franchise. The level design is more varied from the original, with more secret areas to explore, like the courtyard and the gym, and having multiple lines from wall riding up the rooftops to grinding down the staircase. Everywhere you go there seems to be a new line, and that's what makes this level so great. The only issue is a dickhead driving a golf cart. Marseille is the first competition level, based off of Marseille Skate Park in France. This is a more vert level, though it does involve some street skating. What is unique about this level is what could be taken for a simple skate park offers more than what you think is available. If you knock over the tree near the wooded area, you're able to find a secret underground fountain. This little stuff makes a simple skate park turn into a memorable level, and is another one of the great secrets inside of this game. Now New York, man, this is the best level in the entire game. Consists of a mix of famous locations and features like Central Park and a glimpse of the Brooklyn Bridge. Just like School 2, everything just flows, and there's so much in a single space you are given alone. It gets even crazier when you are able to get to another area by collecting the subway tokens and grinding the subway rails. Watch out for the subways though, they'll hit you off. The only issue is, just like School, there are assholes on the road. Instead of golf carts, there are taxis, and they like to cuss you out if you get hit by them. New York is a great example of just how much they put into this game compared to the first. This is like 2 of the first game's levels put into 1. It's amazing. Venice Beach can be fun. Although this is a fan favorite, I never thought of it as the best. Getting the secret tape here can be a pain in the ass, along with doing some of the transfers, one objective, like ollie in the magic bum, or getting the graffiti cans across the map. This is also the first level where I feel that stats start to matter a lot. And while you can beat these levels without stats, it does make it easier when you upgrade. I do enjoy the main area with the tables though, and the rooftop sections. But it sucks that touching the sand anywhere is an automatic level respawn. You'll mess up if you grind trying to get to the other section of the map where the secret area is. Other than that, it's a pretty good level. Skate Street is the second competition level. It's a giant mega ramp park with many big jumps, along with a small attraction area on the side. The secret areas allow you to go outside for a little more ramps to skate on. There isn't that much to say about this map. It's another good level that revolves around a real skate park. Philadelphia is the last gold level, and of course it's the hardest. This is another one that many like, but I just don't see it. There are many iconic areas, but I don't think they fit well put together. It doesn't feel like you can score big until you unlock the skate park, which is the secret area of this level. Not to mention most of the ridiculous gaps, like getting up on that damn rooftop. Now that the controls are refined, it really comes down to the level design, and Philadelphia just doesn't hold up. However, it can still be enjoyable to free skate. While not as awful as Streets from the first game, which is pretty bad, it feels like a dip in quality from the other levels in the game. And now on to Bull Ring, the final level in the career mode, and also the final competition. This stage features mega ramps, as the name implies, a bull running around in the ring. You can chase the bull and grab money from its shit. That's some bullshit. Or you can go to the stands and grind the high wire. So many options now to get points. This makes exploring the level rewarding and a nice change of aesthetic from the previous areas. This is also a big improvement from the last level of the first game, Roswell. Roswell was pretty alright, and the aesthetic was nice, taking place in Area 51. But I feel like Bull Ring does way more with its aesthetic and the level design wise than Roswell did. A great level to end the career on. If you notice, there has been a running theme in all of these levels compared to the first. They're all big and they all have many secrets to offer. Every level has a secret area in it. In the first game, not every level had this. That means every level has some new secret hiding that you just don't see on the first run. Just stepping into the first area, you can tell just how much more grand this is from the first game. It's because of this scale that it makes you want to explore not only the new trick lines, but even the secret areas that you find. Tony Hawk games are about skateboarding, but they always went above and beyond in what they could do. They could have been regular skate parks similar to how Madden just has regular football fields, but Neversoft went the extra mile and made these feel like real levels, and it improves upon the idea of being Mario 64-like in design. Even levels I don't find myself caring about, like Philadelphia, I find myself going back to just to skate around and see things I didn't see before, and I think that's great design. Well, after the career mode, what more does this game have to offer? Well, after beating it, when you beat the game, you're rewarded with a bail video, and a video that corresponds with who you beat the game with. This is a cool little extra to see the other skaters in the skating montage. The other thing you'll notice is the unlockable characters. If you beat the game with your created skater, you can now play as Spider-Man. Yep, for the first time in the series, there's a guest character. I think they were able to do this because Activision also published the iconic Spider-Man game on the PS1. Check that one out. It's a really great Spider-Man game. Spider-Man has unique special moves that utilize his web powers, and this was the start of a staple in the series, adding guest characters from other franchises, and sometimes music groups. There are also more features. You can now create your own levels. The options are limited, and you can't create anything big like the main levels in the game, but if you have the creativity, you'll be able to make something worthwhile. Another expanded feature in the game is cheats. Now there are more than ever and can be unlocked and turned on. You can use moon gravity for great air or breaking the level. There are cheats that can grow or shrink your skater. There are also cheats for perfect balance if you want to just cheese through the game. And one of the greatest cheats, disco mode, low res graphics, and multiple colors. Just don't stare at the screen too long. All of these additions are unlocked by playing through the career mode with different skaters. You have to beat the game with different skaters in order to unlock these new features. And it's here where the game really emphasizes what it wants you to do. Just like an arcade mode of a fighting game, you have to beat it with different characters and get better and better at the game as you go along. And you unlock new features like characters and endings and cheats, along with increasing your skill until you become a master and beat every level in one run. To some, this can seem like a negative because it can be repetitive, but I feel like with so many different characters and stuff for them to unlock and experiment with, it's enough reason to keep wanting to play. And just like the arcade games, a lot of these ending videos are worthwhile, especially Spider-Man's, which shows him in real life saving the skate park for the kids, by skating of course. And this still isn't all the content in the game. Once you complete everything in the game, you unlock 2 more levels, or you can just put in the cheat code to unlock everything. But these 2 levels are Chopper Drop and Skater Heaven. Chopper Drop is the most disappointing level. It's just a half pipe in the ocean. The big gimmick here is that you start out in a helicopter, but once it's gone, you're just skating on a half pipe in the ocean. I guess it's kind of cool for a different aesthetic, but overall, it's just kind of lame, especially for something that you earn for completing the entire game. You can leave the half pipe and end the level by jumping to the platform in front of it, but that's it. This kind of sucks as a completion bonus, and I can get more value from any other half pipe in the game. Now, what I just said is the complete opposite for Skater Heaven. You know you're in for something when you start the level and God is giving you his blessing to skate. Not only is this level really cool aesthetically with being in space, the design of it is done amazingly well. You can go to Tony Hawk's house, skate around his skate park, or try to jump into the volcano. Not to mention all the other stuff jam-packed into this level. It's the biggest level in the game and has so much stuff for you to do. And if that's not enough, if you fall off the map, the devil will laugh at you as if you're falling into hell, and your skater screams too. This is a wild level and a great surprise, and it's also a great completion bonus. Is it really worth completing the entire game just for these 2 levels? Maybe not. You can put in the cheat, like I said before, but I'm glad they added something there for players who wanted to go beyond and do everything in the game. Oh, and there's one more skater as well. Private Carrera returns with her weird moves, but you need to get all the gaps in the levels to get her. The good thing is, you're able to track down which gaps you completed, and there are a lot of them. You do most of them by completing the career mode over and over again, but some of them are very well hidden. Her as an unlockable is not really worth it, but once again, it's something great for those who want to do more objectives in the game. So yeah, man, this game has so much content stacked on, it's amazing. Not only compared to the first, but to other skateboarding and sports games as well. They didn't have to do this. They didn't have to add these extra levels, the movies, the characters. This could have been written up as some yearly sports game, but they wanted to make it something better, something memorable, something more, and they succeeded. Now for that soundtrack. I couldn't forget to mention this. Neversoft managed to blow it out of the water again with great tracks like No Cigar, May 16th, Guerrilla Radio, Bring the Noise, Out with the Old. I can keep going on. I guess you'll understand if you play it. The soundtrack is expanded now with hip hop that goes together with the punk rock songs and makes a feel that defines the skateboarding culture. Now that's all for Pro Skater 2 itself, but when talking about Pro Skater 2, we have to talk about his Xbox port of the game, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2X. This version adds even more content to the game. Not only as a port of Pro Skater 2, but a port of Pro Skater 1. You get the stages, the career mode, and all the skaters. All have to be unlocked, of course, by playing through both careers. And they all look great with no more fog around the levels. Create a Skater has been expanded, not as big as 3's, but you can now create a female, which you couldn't do in the original game. And don't forget that the cheats are back too. And on top of all that, you get 5 cut levels from Pro Skater 2. That's amazing. Although most of these levels are pretty trash. The construction site would have worked better later in the series and has you trying to go up, and that's pretty much it. The club is one of the better levels of the 5 and allows you to skate around a bar and on the lights. Tampa is the best of the 5. It will be later used in Tony Hawk's Underground and expanded upon. The subway level is interesting. It seems to be a cut part of New York, and you can tell it's the smallest level of the 5 with not that much for you to skate on. You can go inside the trains, but overall there isn't much to do. The last level is rooftops, and this level would have worked better if it was in Pro Skater 4 with spine transfers. But navigating the level here sucks because it was not designed well for the tools you have for movement. I'd say it's the worst, but I still found it more enjoyable than the subway. Thankfully, you don't have to do any missions on this level. So the new levels aren't that high, but I still think this is a great alternative to play Pro Skater 2 and 1. With the improved graphics, extra content, and Pro Skater 2's controls for Pro Skater 1, this is a great recommendation for those getting into the franchise for the first time. Well, that was Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2, and the question still remains, is this the best Tony Hawk game? And I'd say it's up there. Well, I don't think it's the best because future games would not only expand upon the content, but also refine the gameplay. This still deserves to be held as one of the greatest games of all time. This was a sequel that greatly improved on the original and pushed boundaries for what a sports game could be. Neversoft could have just made it the career mode and called it a day. They could have not added Spider-Man, the secret levels, the cheats, or hell, even try to make actual levels. But Neversoft changed the game completely and set a higher standard. When I look at top 10 PlayStation games, I almost always see Pro Skater 2 up there. There's a reason why it's considered one of the greatest games of all time, and that's because Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 pushed beyond its standards. That's not to also mention the hours people put in with the multiplayer in these games. So many great memories to be had playing these iconic levels, messing around with the cheats, and of course playing as Spider-Man. So yeah, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2 is one of the best games of all time, but not the best Tony Hawk game. But we'll get there. Anyway, thanks for watching the video. I'm not going to give a score because I feel like it wouldn't represent the game as a whole well. I'll just tell you to go pick this up and go play it yourself. Either playing the original game on PlayStation or picking up Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2X. It's a great game even today and not that hard to find. Well, that's all folks. See you in the next video.
Territory is the territory. Territory is the territory. Territory is the territory.